time for movies on rock and roll football. It's Meet Me in the Foyer with Linda Marrick and Jawa.
Meet me in the foyer.
Hello, stranger. Thank you for meeting me in the foyer. I take it you've come for the film reviews, of which we have 3, and maybe you'll stay for the news, chat, and drama. And joining us, providing some, if not all of these, is our critic, no stranger to you and me. It's the fabulous Linda Marrick. How are you doing, Linda?
Hello, how are you? Did you have a
Thank you.
nice Easter break?
I did. It was a very nice Easter. Yes, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, good, very good. Lovely weather and all that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Did
That's
lots
a
of
plus.
sleeping for a change.
Very good. Yes, I had a cheeky little break there, but we're back at it now. Did you spend your time away watching lots of films, or did you have a little break from films?
I actually caught up on the series that's on Disney Plus called Paradise.
Oh, okay.
A sci-fi series which I've been looking forward to catching up on. So I've watched the whole first season and I'm halfway through the second season, and it's
Oh,
really good.
excellent. I've not heard of that one. I'll have to check it out. I've just finished watching Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes. Sorry, Young Sherlock. Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
like it?
It was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Strangely contradicts some of the lore that he wrote into Sherlock the movies, weirdly, which
Yeah,
seems a
yeah.
strange thing to do. But no, good. Well cast, I have to say. But yeah, enjoyed that. And now I'm on the prowl for something new. So maybe that'll be the one I try out next.
Watch Paradise because I really liked it. I didn't know anything about it, and I'm not gonna like give anything away in case our listeners haven't heard of it either. And I wasn't expecting much, and I was really pleasantly surprised. And the second season, the first episode of the second season, is probably one of my favorite episodes of any series
Oh
of
wow.
the last 5 years. Really, really well done. Starring Shailene Woodley, who I really like.
Wonderful. Okay. Sounds like that's a strong recommend.
Mm.
But on our film show, in the medium of film discussion, what will you be bringing us this week?
This week, I'll be reviewing the new adaptation of the Albert Camus best-selling, well, actually seminal, really, novel, The Stranger, L'Etranger, that is written and directed by Francois Ozon. And I will also be reviewing The Drama, a film that's been talked about quite a bit over the last few days.
Excellent. Looking forward to both of those. And of course, I will bring you another classic movie review, and we bring you the box office top 10. So now that we've been introduced and have transitioned from strangers to friends, why don't we take a walk from 1 to 10 in our box office top 10 this week?
Meet me in the foyer.
So it's the box office top 10 time as it stands as we record, and at number 10 is Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. The third week on release, it's made just under 2 million, and you can catch Linda's review on a previous episode of the show. Above that, going strong still in the top 10, at number 9 is Reminders of Him, also reviewed by Linda on a previous week. It's been out a month now. It's made 4 million despite reviews. Above that, at number 8, we have something I'm going to pronounce as Voison 2, biopic of a billion bros. It's its first week on release. It's an Indian Malayalam language coming-of-age action drama.
Not seen it, not heard of it. I'm sure it's absolutely fantastic, and those films always do really well. And it's just such a shame that the way things are sort of the general sort of feeling of the press in the UK is to not cover them at all, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. And they do get covered by BBC Asian Network and sort of specialist radio stations or TV stations, but they don't get covered at all by national press, which I would like to see that change a bit, because they are very good movies, and they're movies that bring in tons of money to local cinemas. So,
yeah, it'd be interesting to see where we are in, say, 10 years' time, when they're continuing to make money, they're continuing to appear in mainstream cinemas, and surely they will eventually draw more and more people in who aren't what you would describe perhaps as their sort of traditional audience. So maybe they will become even more commonplace over the next decade. And speaking of that, at number 7, it's Durandbar, The Revenge, the Indian Hindi language spy action thriller that's been out for 3 weeks now and has also made 4 million at the box office.
That's insane. It's insane. These movies that are making tons and tons of money for the film industry in the UK and cinema industry in the UK are being completely ignored by the mainstream press. Makes absolutely no sense to me.
No, none at all. Above that, at number 6, it's Fuse, David Mackenzie's directed crime heist thriller starring Aaron Taylor-Johnson, but also Sam Worthington.
I like Sam Worthington. I am a fan of his. I think he gets a bad rap, and he was in Relay, that movie. Do you remember Relay from by the same director, actually?
Okay.
Starring Riz Ahmed. Is it Riz Ahmed who's in it? Yeah, Riz Ahmed. Oh no, it wasn't Riz Ahmed. I can't remember. Anyway, Relay, really good movie actually, and he, I actually think is someone who knows how to make those kind of movies. They are your typical dad movies, as I call them. They're like, it's about blokes doing what blokes do, and they're not perfect, and they're not going to change your mind about the whole genre, but they're well made, and they're a bit meh, but like they work and they make money.
Yeah, no, well, they absolutely do. Yes, absolutely. And maybe I'll give it a chance. Maybe I will open my mind to Mr. Worthington again. And above that, at number 5, it's Hoppers, that's been out for 5 weeks, and that's made 12.5 million for Pixar. So Hoppers 2 could well be on the cards, I would imagine. Above that, at number 4, it's The Magic Faraway Tree, that's been out for 2 weeks. You can catch Linda's review on our previous episode, and that's made 7.5 million at the UK box office, enjoying a nice Easter boost. I would. Yeah,
I'm actually not surprised at all. People really love those books, and that they have a lot of sort of memories of reading them as kids, and so and probably sharing them again with their own children. So I understand why. They are very popular, and I really liked the movie. I thought it was okay, and I thought it was really well cast, and it was fun to watch. I just would have liked it to be a bit more cheeky, but on the whole, I thought it was really quite well done.
Excellent. And above that, I won't say too much about this one, as your review is coming later in the show, but in its first week on release, The Drama has entered at number 3 and has already made 2 million at the UK box office, which is pretty good.
Yeah, not saying anything until later.
One that Linda's already reviewed at number 2. I think I may have heard her say her film of the year so far. It's Project Hail Mary on its 3rd week of release. As I say, you can catch Linda's review on a previous show, and that's made 22 million at the UK box office. Very impressive. Which all means at number 1, it's the Super Mario Galaxy movie. On its first week on release, that's made 15 million already at the UK box office, and it's the sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie from Illumination, of course, who made Despicable Me and Minions, starring Chris Pratt and Anya Taylor-Joy.
You wanted to see us?
Don't move, I'll be right up. Sipping the soup, cleaning the paint, boodle-doo, boodle-doo, and also trim the bonsai bush. Here we go. Hey, Luigi. What's up, Mario? Behold, I made a masterpiece for Princess Peach. What do you think?
Love the colors.
It's trash.
How dare you look at my masterpiece and say that? I'll burn the skin off your bones! Wow. Sorry about that. That's the old Bowser talking. Still working through my demons, I suppose. Anyway, I need my 8 hours or else I really turn into a monster.
father, Junior. And I'm gonna be taking my father now!
Princess Rosalina, you're coming with me!
But I reviewed this movie, and I was going to review it, but then I kind of like, I was coming to the end of the week, and I was just didn't really fancy going into this, and it's not for me. And I kind of noticed that it was getting absolutely obliterated in the reviews by the usual suspect, the 50+ brigade, the sort of the broadsheets and the not so broadsheets anymore. And people who have, failed to see what the point of the movie was. And I didn't think it was great, but I didn't think it merited. Someone gave it 0 stars.
Right, okay.
I just think it's a movie about a Nintendo game character, or a bunch of Nintendo game characters, and I played quite a lot, and I mean the Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario and Fox McCloud and all of those characters, and then the princess. I thought it was quite well done. I wasn't bored. I think some of the animation wasn't that brilliant, but some of it is really funny. Some of the stuff, like there's a scene where both Mario and Luigi are turned into babies, and and one of them finds a dinosaur and goes straight into the mouth of the dinosaur, and that made us laugh so much. I didn't think it was as terrible as people saying it is, and people will go and watch anything, obviously, if it's an animation. And if it's Nintendo, Nintendo is still extremely popular with kids, and because of the Switch. And I have nieces and nephews who play it, and they absolutely loved the movie. They went to see it at the weekend, and they absolutely loved it. And so, who are we to say anything?
Absolutely. The box office tells the story, and it's doing fantastically well. I won't be joining it. I did watch the first one, and I departed that train at that station.
It's not for us.
But it's not for us. So it's doing well, and the kids are enjoying it. So what more can you do? And that's the box office top 10 for this week.
Meet me in the foyer.
Right, so I think it's now time for a review. So bonjour, ça va? Ça va bien? Mademoiselle Marek will now introduce us to a new friend, a film from Francois Ozon, based on the novel by Albert Camus, as Linda told us, called L'Etranger, I think. L'Etranger, starring Benjamin Voisin.
Voison.
Yeah, I'm murdering all of these. So let's get to know each other. Linda, let's start with you. Tell us your name, where you're from, and introduce us to your friend.
Let's not.
Aujourd'hui, je suis retournée au bain. J'ai fermé les yeux et j'ai senti ta tête posée sur mon ventre. Quand j'ai rouvert les yeux, tu n'étais pas là. Pourquoi as-tu tué cet homme ? Pourquoi avoir brisé ce bonheur qui nous attendait ?
Vous portez en vous le poids d'un péché dont il faut vous débarrasser.
Il y a des choses dans votre geste qui nous échappent et nous avons besoin que vous nous aidiez à les comprendre. D'abord, regrettez-vous votre acte ?
Pourquoi étiez-vous armé d'un revolver ? Et pourquoi revenir vers cet endroit précisément ?
Moi aussi, je me demande parfois si je t'aime. T'es bizarre, pas comme les autres.
Monsieur le Président, Meursault est innocent.
C'était un accident ?
Avez-vous vu Monsieur Meursault pleurer ?
Mais l'avez-vous vu qui ne pleurait pas ?
qu'on n'est jamais tout à fait malheureux.
So I don't know if you are aware of Francois Ozon. I am a huge fan of Francois Ozon. I have interviewed him a number of times throughout the year. He is the darling of the film festival scene, and he comes out with a film every single year, literally every single year since 1997. I think he only missed 2021, but he had released two in 2000. He had released two movies. So if you've not heard of him, I think his most famous film is The Swimming Pool, La Piscine, and then you've got Time to Leave, Angel, Ricky, The Refuge, Potiche, one of my favorite movies of all time, BAFTA winning. What else? In the House, Young and Beautiful, The New Girlfriend. Again, another fabulous movie. Franz, which I found very touching. L'amant double, which is double lover, it's called in English. So I'm giving you this just to showcase how much work he has done. By the grace of God, great movie about sort of a scandal in the Catholic Church in France. Summer of '85, starring the star of the L'Etranger, Benjamin Voisin. Everything Went Fine. Peter von Kite. The Crime Is Mine. One Fall Comes, which I interviewed him for last year. And then you have The Stranger. I'm sorry to be sort of to go on too much, because I really am. I have seen every single movie of his. I am a huge, massive fan of his, and he's someone who's never really been that much rewarded at festivals. I don't think he's ever won a Palme d'Or. I don't think he's ever won anything at Venice. Or at Toronto or anywhere, but his films are always interesting, always really well cast, and always sort of are able to give a different a view of some characters that we know. He hasn't really adapted that many original works, but with L'Étranger, his adaptation is so well done that it gives the text a completely new meaning. So if you're not familiar with L'Étranger, it's a novel written released in 1942 by Albert Camus, and it's set in colonized Algeria, in Algiers, within sort of where a character called Meursault is so. Basically, this is filmed not in Algeria, which is sad. It's a black and white movie. It's I think it would have been even more powerful if it had been filmed in Algiers, but actually they managed to do a really good job. It is filmed in Morocco, in Tanger, I think, and they do manage to do actually a really good job with giving Tanger a really good look of Algiers. Algiers with its white buildings, it's kind of really sunny. It's Algiers in the 1930s. I think it's set in the 1930s. Algiers in the 1930s is this kind of stunning, absolutely beautiful city with so many different sort of like the French, there's Jews, there's Arabs, there's Turks, and there's all living together. But there is a feeling that if you're white and French, you do have the upper hand. So the story is, as I said, Benjamin Voisin, who was also in Summer of '85, one of Ozon's other movies. He is the central character. He is someone who's your sort of a young kind of clerk, like a salaryman almost. He is emotionally blank. He doesn't cry. His mum has just died, and he must travel from Algiers to kind of more inside of Algeria. I cannot remember what city it was that and I don't think the film says it. I read the book many years ago, and I can't really remember every place where he goes. So he goes to his mother's funeral, and he's someone she's living in this kind of old people's home, really, and he's completely abandoned her. He's never asked about her ever, and he doesn't cry at her. He doesn't. He feels absolutely nothing at her funeral. There are people around him, people who've been friends with her only for a few years, who are absolutely devastated by her death. He does nothing. He just sits there until it's time for him to leave. He just goes back to Algiers and gets on with his life. When he comes back to Algiers, he kind of goes back into, he's been in this kind of semi-relationship with this girl called Marie, where she's obviously way more into him than he is into her. And she even asks him, "Do you love me?" And he says, "I don't love anything. I don't love anyone. I don't know what you mean." He doesn't. He's almost like someone. He's almost like a sociopath, someone who feels like he is being, in a way, pushed by society to feel things that he genuinely does not feel. Also, at the beginning of the film, actually opens on him, on the character of Meursault, and then we go back to where his mum dies. He's been arrested and thrown into prison, and a really hardcore prison where he's the only white guy in the prison. And when he's asked why you're here, he says, "I shot an Arab," which reminds me of the Cure song, and that comes from L'Etranger, actually, shooting an Arab. And he killed an Arab, or I shot an Arab. I can't remember the exact lyric of the song. So yeah, and then from there on, we follow this character as he gets himself involved with all sorts of things, and throughout this whole thing, he's basically. You get the impression that he's living through life without taking anything too seriously, or he's not even nonchalant. He's just someone who is almost a zombie in his own life. He's almost a stranger in his own life. That's why he is a stranger, but he's not the stranger in a foreign land, because he is born and brought up in Algeria. So he regards himself as fully French Algerian. And I think L'Etranger, when Camus wrote this, it was way before the War of Independence of Algeria that resulted in the independence in 1962. But before that, many of the French colonizers who lived in Algeria really regarded themselves as, born and bred there, and had every right to be there. If you have read the book, you'll notice that the so-called Arab that he ends up killing does not have a name in Camus' book. But here, Ozon does a fabulous job by sort of giving that particular character a name. He's called Musa, and his sister is called Jamila. Jamila, who's a prostitute, more or less, and who's her pimp is pushing her around and hitting her and everything, and the brother's got an issue with it. So there's an issue between the two groups of people, and because Meursault is friends with this pimp, he ends up killing a guy for absolutely no reason and finds himself in prison. I think what Ozon does here is that he turns a book that doesn't have any undertones that talks at all about the differences in who has the upper hand between people of color and European-born Algerians. Even though the original text doesn't really appear to do, it's more of an existentialist kind of text. It doesn't really give too much away in that kind of, it's not a political text. Ozon manages to turn it into a political text by naming those two characters, by giving them, by not just saying, I killed an Arab is, for me, one of the most racist sayings, and I was brought up in hating that particular sentence in that book And for me, just knowing that Ozon has been really touched by that particular sentence to the point of making it a central, like making naming those characters an essential part of it is really good. All in all, I just thought this was so beautifully filmed, just so it's this beautiful, intelligent adaptation, and it adds like a really valuable racial and colonial context to the War of Independence to Algeria, and it goes a long way into realizing why people revolted in the end, why after over a century of colonialism, people just had enough, and they resisted, and they've decided to sort of say, look, this is our land. You came here, but how come you are having all of this? I mean, their lives are incredible. All they do is go swimming at the beach, and there are these really, fancy parties and bars and dancing, and so I really really like this. I think I've always had a few. I loved it, L'Etranger. I'm like a huge fan of the book, and the writing in it is so brutal, but I've always had a problem with it in a sort of a racial sort of sense. And I think Francois Ozon has done a fabulous job in kind of like erasing that. And some people might not like that bit about it, but I really liked it. And yeah, again, 5 out of 5 movie, just stunning. Benjamin Voisin is incredible in this movie. He is. I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, and I found him really amiable and very very unlike his character. So it was actually quite nice to see that he really is that much of a good actor. Yeah, he's great. He has really a great future ahead of him as an actor.
Fabulous.
Sorry for going on. I went on for too long, but you know that I really love this director, so I felt like I had to give him some time.
That's perfectly fine. Absolutely, that sounds like another strong recommend, and yeah, an excellent time to be had. I assume in this country it's got subtitles rather than being dubbed in
It's
the
not
cinema.
dubbed.
Yes, I don't even know if that's still a thing these days. Actually, dubbing films.
Yeah. I think Netflix still does the dubbing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you go on Netflix, all of their movies, all of their foreign language movies are dubbed in English, which is fine. I think some people prefer to watch them that way, but for me, it takes away from from them being from the authenticity of the movie. So
Oh,
yeah, I love
absolutely.
it.
It's like watching an episode of Eurotrash
Yeah,
sometimes. It
exactly.
turns a drama into a comedy.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, to my shame, I've not seen any of his films.
Oh,
But and even more to my shame, maybe I have had The Crime Is Mine in my watch pile
oh, you
for
must.
like a year, and I just haven't got around to actually watching it.
You should watch The Swimming Pool
Mhm.
first. I think that is probably like his best movie.
Okay.
But all of his movies are great. So I have it like Summer of '85 again, really good movie. Let me think. What else? So I would recommend starting with Swimming Pool and then
Mhm.
watching Potiche after that.
Okay.
Really good. And then what else? The L'amour double, which is Double Lover. That's a really weird movie. I think you're gonna like it. Really, really weird. Yeah. Again, like as I say, he has released a film every single year. Almost every single year
Yeah.
since 1997. He's got, hang on, how many movies? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 19, 21, 22, 25, 25 movies, or
Mhm.
26. Could be 26. I don't know. I think I might have missed some. Yeah. yeah, very someone who really loves cinema and who has tried his hand at many genres in cinema as well. He doesn't just stick to one thing, and he makes his films really fun. There's always a surprise in them, and there's always a really different way of seeing things. So yeah, really good.
And apparently popular in Germany, as he's won twice at the Berlin Film Festival whilst not winning the others that you mentioned, which is intriguing. Yeah, lovely. Well, thank you very much, Linda. That's your first potential if you're heading to the box offices this weekend. And before we bring you more reviews, why don't we bring you a bit of movie news?
Meet me in the foyer.
And in the movie news, we have a trailer for Supergirl, the second film in the James Gunn DCU, starring Millie Alcock, hitting cinemas on June 26th.
Hey, I was just touching base to see when you think you might be coming back. You know, I'm just worried that you're not going to find your stride here if you keep going off-world all the time, Kara. I'm worried you're not going to find your people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Clark. I have no people. Oh, miss wherever you are, buddy. Crypto and I at least had each other. Honestly, I thought we were lucky. But luck, almost by definition, runs out. What can I do?
The Brickens carry the antidote on that person. He has 3 days.
You cannot give up on me.
It's a crime of the Yellow Hills. He murdered my innocent family.
Just do what I say. And don't die. This does not look like this is gonna end well. For you guys.
Stop. You're hurting my head.
Revenge. It won't take your pain away.
Your eyes are beautiful when you cry. A lot of pain, huh? A lot of suffering.
There's no home without you, buddy.
Aren't you the ditz from that dive bar?
Funny. That's what I've been calling you.
Touche.
I haven't seen the trailer yet. It kept being suggested to me on YouTube. I haven't watched it yet. I will watch after this.
No, I was the same, actually. I'm going to watch it as I put this show together. Looking forward to that. I very much enjoyed Superman last year, so yeah. Ryan Gosling, who of course is the star of the Hail Mary project that we mentioned in the
Project
top 10.
Hail Mary.
Project Hail Mary, that's the one. Was announced as part of the Daniel, is it Scheinert and Daniel Kwan project?
The Daniels.
Yes, the Daniels, yes.
The Daniels.
Their first film since Everything Everywhere All at Once. And a week later, he's now been confirmed as departing the project.
I don't think it was even a week later. Wasn't it like literally the next day? So
it might have been, yes.
That is so weird.
No explanation as to why that's happened, and no one's commented on it so far. But yeah,
I have a feeling that they are possibly trying to do something with Project Hail Mary too.
Right.
And that would be very disappointing because that means that Andy Weir will have to like go back and write something to sort of make it make sense.
Yeah, and of course Ryan's a very busy man. He's got Star Wars coming out later this year, I think it is, and yeah, many other irons in many fires. So yeah,
But I think he's done with filming Star Wars, isn't he? Isn't he?
I think that's right, to be
Yeah.
honest.
So
Yeah,
the only thing I can think of is that because he's put his name down to it, he's one of the producers as well of Project Hail Mary, and I think if there is a possibility of a second movie being made, he might want to put all of his, sort of effort into one thing and not be disturbed, which is, I think it's really sad. I was looking forward to that.
I'm sure they'll find someone else to replace him, someone of almost equal quality. We have a trailer for the latest YouTuber turned feature-length horror director, thanks to A24, as the studio bring us Kane Parsons, aka Kane Pixels, and his film Backrooms, starring Chiwetel Ejiofor, due for release on May 29th.
I found something. In the store.
Okay. What did you find?
The place. I found a place.
Hello? Anyone there?
Look, I know how this sounds, but you gotta understand, it's massive in there.
I'm not saying I don't believe you.
Okay, I'm gonna come back here with proof.
All right, you filming?
Yeah. Follow my lead.
Clark, what is this?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I've been here every night since I found the place, and I still barely scratched the surface. All right, just take it slow.
Oh my God.
Pull me up, pull me up, pull me up! What do you see?
All these rooms. This place builds them. It's like a maze. It just goes on and on. Sometimes I'm scared I'll get lost.
Clark, can you hear me? I don't understand. What is this?
It's beautiful. Am I right?
Hello?
It's not a big news week, so I bring you some Adam Sandler news, who's set to star alongside Willem Dafoe in Netflix drama Time Out from director Scott Cooper. That's a remake of Laurent Canter's 2001 French drama. Now I'm going to murder another French phrase now. L'Empoli du Temps. That's how I'm saying it.
Du temps. Okay.
Thank you very much. And then back to the movies. We have a trailer for writer-director David Robert Mitchell's latest sci-fi movie, The End of Oak Street, starring Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway, and that's in cinemas on the 14th of August.
Mom?
What's happening to us?
I think our house. Our neighborhood. Our whole street. Has moved.
How the hell is that even possible?
Oh my God, run!
lastly, in the movie news this week, Hugh Jackman's upcoming movie The Sheep Detectives, scripted by the Last of Us and Chernobyl writer Craig Mazin, and directed by Kyle Balder, where a herd of sheep learn about the death of their shepherd and set out to solve the whodunit. It's said to be a hybrid between Knives Out and Babe.
Yeah, I just got invited to a screening of that. Literally,
really?
just before we started the show, I got the email. So yeah, I will let you know what I thought of it.
Excellent. And that's coming up for the rest of us on 8th of May. Right, so as I say, that's the end of the movie news. So let's head into another review.
Meet Me In The Foyer.
So it's enough fun and frivolity. It's time for some drama. And Linda brings us not just some drama, but the drama. The new film from Kristoffer Borgli, starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. So let the drama commence.
Ready and turn. Nice.
The wedding is this Saturday. What stories are you gonna do?
What do you mean, my speech?
Are you gonna use the first time we met?
Yes.
Okay, what about the first date?
Yeah, of course.
Fuck!
You don't have to do a speech.
So you're saying Charlie is your first
Love? Yeah.
first love or your first crush?
Both, I think. Wait, is that insane?
At 30?
So I want to say this thing about her laugh. You know how it's very cute, but it's also kind of
repulsive even.
Okay, so before we got married, we did this thing where we said the worst thing we've ever done.
Okay. I'll tell mine if we all do it. Promise?
What did you do?
This dog.
Beer bottles and porn.
You left him there overnight.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing I've ever done?
Okay,
Are you serious?
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna order an Uber.
Emma, what the fuck?
Am I sensing some nerves? Remember, you know each other really well.
You have to stop thinking about it.
Can't just say stop thinking.
So you are thinking about it.
Oh, for fuck's sake, I am thinking about it now.
How can you even trust her?
You're being incredibly hypocritical.
I never said he was mentally disabled.
Yes, you did. You said he was slow. You said he was slow. Emma, true love is complicated. Sorry. I was just trying to do your stupid joke thing. It's about acceptance, radical acceptance.
Why are you acting like you've never done anything bad? What the fuck was that?
I don't know. Just, there's some drama. It's very funny.
Linda.
So this is a movie starring, it's an A24 movie again, and it has such a huge twist in it that A24 and Entertainment Films, who are distributing the movie in the UK, have shown it to almost nobody apart from a handful of people. And I was lucky enough to be one of those people. Not to blow my own trumpet, but you know, it was deliberately kept under wraps, and it's not that you'd usually a film like this usually would get a multimedia screening. This did not get that, and I completely understand why, because you don't want to give away the twist. And I am not. If you haven't seen the movie, I am not about to give away the twist either, because for me, if it's not in the trailer, and this is not in the trailer, it's not in the trailer, I will not be giving it away. I know that some people have been really nasty and have given it away, but I'm not going to do that. So this is directed by Kristoffer Borgli, and as I said, stars Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, who we see at the beginning of the movie having this kind of like a meet cute that isn't so cute, you know, and like they are sort of a couple. So we first see Robert Pattinson like writing his wedding speech, you know, his groom speech, and you know you're gonna get this kind of like almost like a relationship comedy, where like we see every week, and you think it's going to be that kind of movie, and it kind of it feels a little bit disappointing that it's going to be that kind of movie. Zendaya plays this kind of young woman who is swept off her feet by Robert Pattinson's character Charlie, who works for a museum. He's a museum director, a really well-to-do, very sort of a posh English boy in New York, and she's also from a really good family in Louisiana, brought up, and she's moved from Louisiana to work in New York, and I can't remember what she works in, possibly in advertising, but don't hold me for that. But, it's one of those jobs. And so they're both busy, absolutely adore each other. Really, they're perfect, a match made in heaven, perfectly made for each other, and they really suit each other. And they are, again, literally a few days, like not even a week away from their own wedding. Whilst doing that, whilst getting ready to get married, Charlie and Emma go for a meal with their best man and bridesmaid, who are also a couple. So their best man is played by Mamadou Ate, I think that's how you say his name. Huge fan of his of the actor. And Alana Haim, who is absolutely great in this. Really, it reminded me almost of a character written by Lena Dunham, in Girls. Really like spiky kind of. So they go out for a meal. They're tasting the wines and for the wedding to choose which ones they want. And they're like slowly getting extremely, extremely drunk. And but the Alana Haim character asks, "What is the worst thing? She says, have you two told each other the absolute worst thing you've ever done that you can repeat?" And everyone sort of shares some stories that make you look absolutely awful. I won't get into any details, but like really awful things that they've done, but kind of forgivable. When it comes to Emma's and Zendaya's character, she's by then she's very drunk and barely knows where she is. And they force her into revealing the worst thing about herself. And what she reveals is something so catastrophic that it changes everything for her. Her friends see her differently. Charlie, the husband to be, suddenly doesn't know who this woman he's about to marry is. He's having second thoughts. She's throwing up in the toilet because she's very drunk. She's been and she's had too much to drink. She's throwing up. They go home, go to sleep. The next day they wake up hoping that things will sort of go back to normal, but it's the cat's been Pandora's box has been opened, and that's it. Like they feel like there is no going back. And the dilemma here is, can you ever forgive someone if you love them enough? And that's what I'm going to leave it for. Now, do not want to give anything away, and I think really people would. I think if you are going to give away anything about this movie, you're cruel and you don't deserve to be a critic. All in all, it's so cleverly done, so beautifully written, such a what if kind of like almost like a sort of social dilemma film that gives you all of the information and lets you sort of be the judge of it. And it talks about hypocrisy, how we treat each other, how forgiving we are to each other, how unforgiving, and sometimes we are forgiving. It's about sort of, some people have said it's almost like about cancel culture. It's not about cancel culture. It's more about how far are we prepared to go to to forgive someone or even sort of see someone in a different light when ourselves, when we're not, when you're not perfect, and when you have, I mean, for example, there's a scene in it where they both of them, they're a few days from their wedding, they walk past the young woman who's about to be their DJ, the wedding DJ, and they see her outside smoking crack or smoking heroin with a group of her friends outside a party. And they're so appalled by that, absolutely appalled, that they decide they want to have a word with her. And they're sort of trying to decide whether they want to fire her. At the wedding, like the day before the wedding, she turns up and she's, like the sort of testing the turntables or whatever. And they ask her, was that you that we saw smoking heroin outside a party? And she's like, no, how dare you accuse me, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, both of them, like, it was you. We know it was you. And through that, you get the feeling that there is like the judgment that this young woman who herself is being judged by all her friends, the Emma character, the Zendaya character, she's being judged by everyone, and she knows she's not the horrible person they're all making her out to be. But at the same time, she's being very hypocritical towards this young woman who's about to DJ for her. It's really good. Like, there are so many little examples that make you feel like, all right, I see what you're doing here. It's really cleverly done, and it's really actually quite violent in some scenes. I just thought it was so well done and really, really well acted, and love Robert Pattinson in this. He's just adorable. Alana Haim's really good. Good cast, brilliant idea, excellent premise, and all in all, really clever and original, which we don't often see. And if you go into it thinking this is going to be a rom-com, you are going to be sorely disappointed. It's really, really, really good film.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, I was thinking before that it must have been a nightmare to edit the trailer for, and it's a trailer that really doesn't give you a sense of what the film actually is. Having read the synopsis, that
Oh no! Did
well,
you read it?
it's not one I actually intend to see, so I wasn't.
Okay, fair
I was
enough.
prepared to spoil it for myself because I've heard other reviews and they've danced around the issue in it so much that you're left thinking, I don't know what it is you're saying and what this is about. So, yeah, I felt I needed to have some sort of grasp on it. And as I say, the trailer really gives you no idea. It
Which is
just
how
seemed,
a trailer should be.
yes, I suppose so. I wonder how many people will go and see it expecting something completely different, because it does seem like almost like a sort of slightly more serious version of the Money Pit or something, like which it really isn't. But no, fascinating. It's funny. We spoke the other week about actors who disappear and then come back with a whole bunch of films, and I noticed that it's a 4 film year for both Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, because she's got this coming out, and The Odyssey, and June Part 3, and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Pattinson's got the same. He's got this, The Odyssey, June Part 3. So they're working together, these two, and then he has Here Comes the Flood. So yeah, a really busy period for both of them.
Good, I'm glad.
But yeah, this sounds like an excellent
And they're
one.
brilliant together. And you've actually, what's really interesting about it, I started the film because I genuinely thought it was going to be a rom-com. I started the film going, these guys have zero chemistry. Why are they even here? By the end of the film, they have the most chemistry ever. It's heartbreaking how much chemistry they have. And that's the cleverness of this movie and of the director. No, his writing, just so brilliant. It just completely turns the film on its head once you have all the information.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so good, really well done.
Fabulous. Right. Well, that's sounds like you've got two highly recommended choices to make if you go to the box office this weekend. And now, why don't I give you a third possible? I don't know that it's been enjoying a re-release, although it should, because it's an absolute classic this week, not one of my dubious classics, because it's now time for another of Jawa's classic movie moments.
Meet me in the foyer.
And this week we're looking at a film celebrating its 50th anniversary, starring two iconic leading actors. It has a fabulous supporting cast and is from a director I think one could reasonably call the king director of the political thriller. It's the third of three fantastic political thrillers Alan J Pakula released in the 1970s. An extremely paranoid time, given it followed the political and social upheavals and assassinations of the 1960s. So this week I'll be inspecting All the President's Men.
Unit 1 to Unit 2. What? We're home. Base 1 to Unit 1. Base 1 to Unit 1.
Hold it, you mother! Hold it, police! There's been a break-in at Democratic headquarters, and they were bugging the place. Woodward, Bernstein, you're both on the story. Now, don't f*** it up.
Redford. I'm Bob Woodward of the Washington Post. Mr. Markham, are you here in connection with the Watergate burglary?
I'm not here.
Hoffamn.
Hi, this is Carl Bernstein of the Washington Post, and I was just wondering if you can remember...
All the President's Men. The story of the two young reporters who cracked the Watergate conspiracy.
White House.
Howard Hunt, please.
He might be in Mr. Colson's office.
Who's Charles Colson? Did you know, Howard Hunt?
Well, the White House said he was doing some investigative work.
What do you say? They stumbled into leads.
Certainly it comes as no surprise to you that Howard was with the CIA.
No surprise at all.
They tripped over clues.
We'd like to see all the material requested by the White House.
All White House transactions are confidential.
This whole thing is a cover-up. It's right on our nose.
And piece by piece, they solve the greatest detective story in American history.
There is no way the White House can control the investigation.
I don't want to say anymore, okay?
Have you been threatened if you tell the truth?
Is there a cover-up?
Don't you understand what you're on to? Mitchell knew? Of course, Mitchell knew.
Woodward! Bernstein! Get in here!
At times, it looked as if it might cost them their jobs.
You guys are about to write a story that says the former Attorney General, the highest-ranking law enforcement officer in this country, is a crook.
Their reputations.
Why is the Post trying to do it? I don't know.
Perhaps even their lives.
Wow.
Yes, it's a biggie. It's a big one.
Fabulous. Huge fan.
Such a great film, isn't it? It really is. It was a joy to rewatch this week. So it's time to go on the record about All the President's Men. I have to do this my way. I'll keep you in the right direction if I can, but I won't reveal my sources. So All the President's Men is a 1976 American biographical political thriller directed by Alan J Pakula with a screenplay by William Goldman about the Watergate scandal that brought down the presidency of Richard Nixon. It's based on the 1974 non-fiction book by journalists Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward, and it stars Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman as Woodward and Bernstein, respectively, and as they investigate the scandal for the Washington Post. So, brief bit of plot, because you may not know the story. On June 17th, 1972, Frank Wills, a security guard at the Watergate complex, finds a door bolt taped over to prevent it from locking. He calls the police, who find and arrest 5 burglars in the Democratic National Committee headquarters within the complex. The next morning, the Washington Post assign new reporter Bob Woodward to the local courthouse to cover the story, which is considered of minor importance. Woodward learns that the 5 men, James McCord, and 4 Cuban Americans from Miami, possessed electronic bugging equipment and are represented by a high-priced country club attorney. At the arraignment, McCord identifies himself in court as having recently left the Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, and the others also revealed to have CIA ties. Woodward connects the burglars to E. Howard Hunt, an employee of President Richard Nixon's White House counsel, Charles Colson, and formerly of the CIA. Carl Bernstein, another Post reporter, is assigned to cover the Watergate story with Woodward. The two young men are reluctant partners but work well together. Executive editor Benjamin Bradley believes that their work lacks reliable sources and is not worthy of the Post front page, but he encourages further investigation. So, as I say, it covers the Watergate scandal, one of the most important stories, I think, probably in the 20th century. As I say, it brought down the presidency of Tricky Dicky, Richard Nixon. And you see it referenced in so many films, including, amusingly, in Forrest Gump, where he appears to be at the hotel over the road as this is occurring. As I said, it stars Dustin Hoffman as Carl Bernstein and Robert Redford as his journalistic partner Bob Woodward. It has Jack Warden, Martin Balsam, Hal Holbrook, Jason Robards, Jane Alexander, Stephen Collins, Ned Beatty, Meredith Baxter, Penny Fuller, Penny Pazer, Lindsay Cruz, Robert Walden, and F. Murray Abraham in it. So a fabulous cast, a really absolutely brilliant cast. It opens. Now, I was watching this on headphones this week, and I imagine if you were watching this in the cinema at the time, there has no pre-credits production company logo, which perhaps embarrassingly, it took me until I was working in a cinema to realize that the logos have sound cues on them, so the projectionist can set the volume for the auditorium. This has none of that. It just cuts straight into the action with an opening that will probably make you leap out of your seat, as you've got this extreme close-up of what you can't tell what it is, a sort of grey image, and it turns out that it's a piece of paper as a typewriter key slams into the paper with a sort of deafening explosion, and then your attention is hooked. That's followed by a genuine news piece from the presidency of Richard Nixon, and then you cut to sort of the muffled voices of men speaking in hushed tones to each other as it sounds like they're planning to break into somewhere. You then get this lovely bit of sort of theatre, mostly sort of played out in silence, as men fumble through offices and torches illuminate desks and cupboards and things like that. And then that's broken by security guards shouting "freeze!" It's so loud again that once again you're sort of shocked into reasserting your attention to the film. And then the film leads you on to the conclusion over the next sort of hour and a half, 2 hours, never breaking pace, always sort of keeping you fixed, glued to the screen, with sort of rapid fire dialogue, really almost unnoticeable direction and editing. It's I wouldn't call Pakula an auteur or a stylist, but he's a brilliant technician. And I mean, that's might sound a little bit harsh because he is a very talented director, but as I say, it's very natural. The dialogue's very natural in the film. They worked really hard to have this sort of natural dialogue. So hard, in fact, apparently, that Redford and Hoffman learnt each other's lines so they could interrupt each other anytime they wanted throughout the acting, which apparently also unsettled the other actors on set. But yeah, the direction is sort of unintrusive and just lets the story play out in front of you. And it's brilliant. As I say, it's totally enthralling, even though it sounds like quite a dry sort of film following two journalists just investigating a story. As I say, it's based on a book that came out in 73. Sorry, 74. My mistake. There are some changes from the book. The book covers the whole Watergate story and Nixon's departure from the White House, whereas this just covers the first 7 months. But it's so in depth and intense that I mean, to cover the whole story would be probably 3 films. So it began with Redford asking about Watergate whilst promoting his film The Candidate. Then he read Woodward and Bernstein's Watergate stories in the Washington Post whilst waiting to film The Way We Were. And then he actually spoke to Woodward in November 72. He bought the rights to their book in 74 for just under $500,000, with the idea to make it into a film on a budget of about $5 million. And Ben Bradlee, editor of the Washington Post, realizing that it was going to be made into a film, whether he approved of it or not, decided it would make more sense to be helpful and work with the filmmakers in making it as authentic as possible. Um, then Redford hired William Goldman to write the script, and he said that Woodward was really helpful, but Bernstein was not. And that kind of really fits with his characterization of them in his script and the way they're played. Um, I mean, Hoffman is a brilliant actor, but he's really sort of turning up his irritating side to 11 in this film. He's so obnoxious and he has no social skills whatsoever. He's constantly interrupting Redford, taking his work without asking, correcting people's work. He can't take any criticism from his bosses at all. He's always arguing the point, and it requires Redford to sort of be the negotiator, or pouring, smoothing out the waters for him, because he just can't help but be just speak his mind all the time. But he is a great journalist, and they work together as a fantastic team. So yeah, in fact, Redford, to sort of placate Bernstein, who wasn't very happy about the script, he let Bernstein and his girlfriend write their own version, which he then gave to Goldman. Goldman suggested it was a gutless portrayal by Redford, and in fact, almost nothing. I think maybe perhaps one story from that script made it into the final script, in which Goldman said Bernstein had written himself as catnip to the ladies. So he clearly had a particular opinion of himself. Apparently, Pakula and Redford also did some work on the script, but modern day reassessment of the film has suggested that their influence is very minimal on the script, and Goldman rightly got the credit that he received. Redford first considered Al Pacino, who comes up in every list of people considered for a role, to play Bernstein, but then decided to go with Hoffman. Jason Robards was his first choice to play Ben Bradlee, although Bradley had recommended George C. Scott and wasn't very impressed with Robards, although Robards would absolutely own the role and go on to win the Oscar for supporting actor for it. They also considered Carl Malden, Hal Holbrook, who would eventually play Deep Throat in the film, John Forsyth, Leslie Nielsen, Henry Fonda, Richard Widmark, Christopher Plummer, Anthony Quinn, Gene Hackman, Burt Lancaster, Robert Stack, Robert Mitchum, and Telly Savalas, all being considered apparently. So basically anyone in Hollywood who was standing up, had a pulse, and male at that time. Balsam, the character actor, played editor Howard Simmons. And according to Bradley, Simmons felt that Balsam wasn't great, and his role was diminished by the script. But I disagree. I think Martin Balsam's a brilliant actor and is fabulous in it. Interestingly, Redford and Hoffman divided top billing in this. Apparently, they imitated the way James Stewart and John Wayne had done it for The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, in that another brilliant film. Redford was top billed for the posters and trailers, and then Hoffman got top billing on the actual film itself. I would say it's a two-hander, but I would say Redford is really the lead actor in this, which is possibly why neither of them were nominated for Best Actor at the Oscars, bizarrely, even though they are absolutely brilliant in this. They went all out for authenticity, as I say. They went to the post offices. They spent months there. They went to news conferences. They measured their offices. They bought exactly the same desks that they have. They even collected trash from the office to take back to the set and make it more realistic. So, as I say, really going all out for authenticity. It originally got an R rating from the Motion Picture Association of America because of use of expletives. But Redford appealed the decision, saying that the film's subject matter and historical importance warranted a lower rating, and the MPAA approved that, and it went from an R down to a PG, as apparently PG-13 didn't exist at the time. And so it showed that, given context and appropriate usage, the MPAA will listen to reason and adjust their their judgment on films. It was universally acclaimed by critics. It holds a 95% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And old Roger Ebert, as I like to turn to, in the Chicago Times, gave it 3.5 stars out of 4, saying it provides the most observant study of working journalists we're ever likely to see in a feature film, and succeeds brilliantly in suggesting the mixture of exhilaration, paranoia, self-doubt, and courage that permeated the Washington Post as its two young reporters went after a presidency. And his partner Siskel gave it 4 out of 4 stars and named it his best film of 1976. And then, interestingly, as I say, it didn't win the Oscar for Best Film. In fact, it came up the other week when I reviewed Taxi Driver, which also didn't win the Oscar for Best Film. And also, Network didn't win the Oscar for Best Film, as Rocky picked it up that year, which, it is a classic. It's not my cup of tea. I can see why they've gone with Rocky. It's a more positive story. It's perhaps easier to stomach than one undermining the whole political system of the United States. But and I should say, I think Rocky, perhaps in retrospect, gets a raw deal a bit by basically because of the sequels. The first one is a serious film and very insightful of the period, but it should be All the President's Men. And in fact, a Hollywood Reporter polled hundreds of Academy members in 2015 over past controversial Academy decisions, and they indicated that given a second chance, they would have awarded the 77 Oscar for Best Picture to All the President's Men. But incredibly strong year. As I said, Best Supporting Actor that year did go to Jason Robards. It also won Best Screenplay and Best Art Direction, as well as Best Sound and Best Supporting Actor, as I say. So it picked up a good haul of awards. Just, I'm still surprised that Redford and Hoffamn didn't get a nomination at least.
Yeah, not surprised, to be honest with you. Everything's political in Hollywood, everything is political. And sadly, there are loads of people who work in the film industry who are also very conservative and, and Tricky Dicky still had his supporters even after he was, kicked out of the White House and sort of had to retire in shame. He still had people who believed in him, despite everything. He was the Trump of his time.
Yeah.
And even though everything what Trump is doing right now, and although loads of his own supporters have turned against him, he still has huge support from the conservatives who will never say a bad word against him, which is absolutely disgusting. And it makes you understand why people in Hollywood or elsewhere, people with money will always vote for the dirtiest of politicians.
Yes, very true, very true. And of course, it came so close to the actual event as well. This film's come out only a couple of years after the actual event itself. So yeah,
which goes to show that when the film about Trump, with starring Sebastian Stan from last year or the year before, when that was being made and came out, it was completely ignored by everyone because everyone's so scared of Trump.
Yes,
every single the company, distributor, studio is terrified of what Trump might do to their company, that people wouldn't touch the movie with a barge pole, which is absolutely disgusting and cowardly, in my opinion. But hey.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Totally agree. There has been a 2-hour documentary made since that came out in 2013, made by Redford, called All the President's Men Revisited, where they focus on the Watergate case and the subsequent film adaptation. Yeah, and I mean, it's just as we said at the top, it's an absolute classic. It's a fantastic film. It's one of 3 political thrillers that Pakula made in the 70s. The first being Clute in 71, and then Parallax View in 74, followed by this one the following years. Parallax View is my favourite. I just adore that. I've seen critics call it too paranoid, sort of playing to the paranoid conspiracy theorists, but I don't take it seriously. It's a film, and it's a hugely enjoyable film, brilliantly played by Warren Beatty, an absolutely fabulous watch, and of course Jane Fonda and Donald Sutherland are brilliant in Clute as well. So a brilliant trilogy if you fancy an evening of paranoia and going to bed wondering what your government's getting up to behind your back.
Not much. Our government is too boring, but
well, this
I
is
like
true,
it boring.
yes.
I like it boring. It's fine.
Yes, better boring than
boring
like
than
this lot,
fascist. Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you haven't given All the President's Men a try, nothing's riding on this except the First Amendment to the Constitution, freedom of the press, and maybe the future of the country. Not that any of that matters, but if you guys don't try, I'm going to get mad. So good night. And that's All the President's Men.
Brilliant. Such a wonderful film. Yeah. Good choice.
Yes. No. Yeah, I was delighted when I saw that was celebrating an anniversary this year.
Another film that is celebrating an anniversary very soon is Jerry Maguire.
Oh, is it?
So we might have to do a special on Jerry Maguire, a film that I have seen like a million times. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, we could do a special on another film you suggested last time, which was Amelie, which is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year, which is absolutely terrifying. But I didn't do it because it doesn't fit into my definition of classic, which is has to be 30 years or more. But I'll be happily do one on that as well.
Maguire's 35, I think. Was it 30?
I think it's 30. Yeah, I think it's 30. So yeah, I could definitely do Jerry Maguire as well in this run.
Okay.
But yeah, sadly that's it for another episode. I hope you've enjoyed the entertainment, felt some degree of education, appreciated the drama, and hopefully you no longer consider Linda and myself strangers. If you want to get to know us better, head to our Patreon to listen again to this episode, catch up on all our previous shows in full extended director's cut form, and enjoy our specials. So for now, it just remains for me to thank Linda for her wonderful work. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Good to see you again. And until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.
And I hope the sunshine sticks around.
Yeah,
till next time.
Don't hold your breath.
Subscribe now to help fans supporting food banks. Go to patreon.com/rockandrollfootball and look for your favourite club subscription pages and sign up with your favourite presenter. Rock and Roll Football. No adverts, no VAR, no limits.
Meet me in the foyer.